You smell like something right now. You probably cannot tell, but the person standing closest to you can. And 50,000 years ago, that information was worth more than anything you could carry in your hands. It could get you fed. It could get you a mate. It could get you killed. Your body odor was not a hygiene problem your ancestors needed to solve. It was a signal, a currency, a piece of data your tribe read the way you read a face. And the moment your ancestors started trying to change that signal, to mask it, alter it, or trade for substances that would modify it, they were doing something that looks, from the right angle, exactly like economics. This is the story of the first social credit score. And it was written entirely in smell. Start with what your body is actually doing right now. Your skin is not a barrier that occasionally gets dirty. It is an ecosystem. Trillions of microorganisms, bacteria, archaea, fungi, live on the surface of your body, in a community that researchers call the skin microbiome. These organisms are not invaders, they are residents. They evolved alongside your species, and their job, among other things, is to produce the chemical signals that other humans read as your personal scent. Here is the counterintuitive part. The research of Julia Segre at the National Human Genome Research Institute and her colleagues in skin microbiome science has documented something that should make you uncomfortable about your morning routine. Modern humans, people who shower daily with antibacterial soap, use deodorant, and apply synthetic fragrances, have measurably less diverse skin microbiomes than people who do not use these products. Less diversity generally means less stability. A less stable microbiome is more vulnerable to pathogens, more prone to inflammation, and, this is the part that connects to prehistory, produces a more chaotic, less readable chemical signal. Your ancestors, who never touched a bar of soap in their lives, may have smelled more coherent than you do. Not necessarily less intense, but more legible. So what did they actually do? The answer is not nothing. The evidence from archaeological sites and ethnographic studies of traditional societies is consistent. Prehistoric and early historic humans used abrasives and absorbents to clean the skin. Sand, fine ash from cooking fires, dry clay. These materials do not strip the skin of its microbial community the way soap does. They physically remove surface debris and excess oils while leaving the deeper microbial layer largely intact. Ash in particular has mild alkaline properties that can neutralize some odor compounds without disrupting the underlying microbiome. This is not primitive fumbling toward cleanliness. This is, from a microbiological standpoint, a more sophisticated interaction with skin chemistry than covering everything in synthetic fragrance. But cleaning was only half the picture. The more economically interesting half was modification. Across prehistoric and early human cultures, the record shows a consistent pattern. People sought out substances specifically to alter their scent, and they were willing to expend significant effort to obtain them. Ochre, the red iron-based pigment documented at sites across Africa going back at least 100,000 years, has traditionally been interpreted primarily as body paint. But ochre also has documented antimicrobial properties. Applied to skin, it inhibits certain bacterial populations while leaving others untouched, effectively reshaping the chemical output of the skin surface. You were not just painting yourself red, you were editing your smell. Resins, plant oils, and aromatic herbs appear in burial contexts and habitation sites long before any formal trade economy existed. The anthropologist and archaeologist Andrew Sherratt, known for his work on the secondary products revolution and the prehistoric use of psychoactive and aromatic substances, documented extensive evidence for the early human use of aromatic plants, not for food, not for medicine in the narrow sense, but for the modification of the body's chemical presentation to others. These substances were not freely available everywhere. They were collected, processed, stored, and in many cases transported significant distances, which means someone had to decide they were worth that effort. Someone had to assign them value, and the value they were assigned was the value of a better signal, a more attractive, more trustworthy, more dominant version of your chemical self. This is the moment where smell becomes economics. To understand why, you need to understand what your brain is actually doing when it processes another person's smell. The olfactory system, your sense of smell, is the only sensory system that projects directly into the limbic system, the part of your brain that processes emotion, memory, and social bonding. Every other sense goes through a relay station first. Smell goes straight to the emotional core. This is not an accident of evolution. It is a design feature. Your ancestors needed to make fast, accurate assessments of the people around them. Is this person healthy? Are they related to me? Are they stressed or calm? Are they a viable mate? Are they a threat? The skin microbiome produces volatile organic compounds that carry answers to all of these questions. Research by Manfred Milinski at the Max Planck Institute for Evolutionary Biology demonstrated that humans can detect genetic compatibility through smell, specifically through differences in the major histocompatibility complex, a cluster of immune system genes. People are consistently more attracted to the smell of individuals whose immune genetics differ from their own, a mechanism that promotes genetic diversity in offspring. You are, without knowing it, running a genetic compatibility scan every time you get close to another person. Your ancestors knew this, not in those terms, but they knew that smell carried truth. And they knew that the truth your smell told could determine whether you were welcomed into a group or excluded from it, whether a potential mate leaned toward you or away, whether the dominant members of your tribe treated you as an ally or a threat. In this world, anything that could improve or alter your chemical signal was not a luxury. It was leverage. So let us reconstruct a specific moment. You are in a late Paleolithic camp, somewhere in what is now Europe, approximately 20,000 years ago. You have been hunting for several days. Your body has been under stress, cortisol elevated, immune system active, microbial balance shifted. Your smell has changed in ways the people in your camp can read without thinking. You smell like effort, like distance, like something that has been away. Someone in the camp has access to a resin collected from a tree that grows 2 days' walk to the south. It is aromatic. Applied to skin, it shifts the bacterial profile of your surface chemistry in a direction that reads, to the people around you, as calm, stable, present, the kind of person whose company is safe. That resin has value, not because it feeds anyone, not because it builds anything, because it changes what you signal to the people whose judgment determines your place in the only social structure that keeps you alive. What do you give for it? Whatever you have to. This is the original market for personal care products, not vanity, not hygiene in the modern sense, a transaction in the currency of social legibility. You are buying a better version of the signal your body broadcasts, and the people around you are doing the same calculation every time they decide whether to trust you, include you, or give you access to the resources the group controls. Marshall Salins wrote about hunter-gatherer societies as operating on a logic of generalized reciprocity, a system where things flow through social networks based on relationship and obligation rather than explicit price. In this system, the person who controls access to aromatic resins, to ochre, to rare clay deposits, to anything that modifies the body's signal, is not just a trader. They are a broker of social identity. Their goods do not just satisfy a craving, they change who you are perceived to be. And here is the modern mirror. You spent money this morning on something that altered your smell. Soap, shampoo, deodorant, perfume. The global fragrance industry is worth over $50 billion annually. The personal care products market is worth several times that. These are not industries built on survival needs. They are built on the same ancient calculation your ancestors ran every time they reached for a handful of ash or a piece of traded resin. You are still trying to control your signal. You are still spending resources to edit the chemical information your body broadcasts to the people whose judgments shape your life. The transaction has scaled up enormously. The underlying psychology has not changed at all. Your body odor was never just a smell, it was data. It was leverage. It was, in the oldest and most literal sense, your social credit score. And you are still paying to manage it. You smell like something right now. The person closest to you can tell, and somewhere in the part of your brain that evolved long before language, long before money, long before soap, you already know exactly what that information is worth.